Hey guys, it's Tori, and today I'm doing my March Books to Books TBR. It feels like it has not been very long at all since I did February's, but February is the shortest month, so I'm sure that contributes to it. I am filming this on the 17th of February, and I have not finished a single thing yet at all. And I'm not even like close to finishing anything. I mean, I guess Vanity Fair, I am pretty close as far as I've been reading Vanity Fair all month. That's like the only thing pretty much I've been reading regularly. I've been reading about 20 pages a day and it's going well. I'm still enjoying it. I haven't even done an update, like started a vlog for it at all yet, but we'll be starting that today, so no worries. And I guess Wolf Hall, I do only have 200 pages left, so I'm very close. I definitely will finish those. I'm hoping to possibly finish My Dark Vanessa, because that is my pick for the TBR Tackle Challenge, and yeah, I really want to start and finish that before the end of the month, and I think it's possible if I finish up Wolf Hall for me to definitely start, if not finish, My Dark Vanessa. So that's my one other goal, but Cranford, Mysteries of Udolpho, not going to happen, unfortunately. It is possible too, I actually will finish Mansfield Park. I'm listening to that on audiobook and I only have about 4 hours left. So I do think I'll be able to get through that one as well. So I have hope, but it's just been, I just have not been very motivated to read. A lot of it has to do with just my work and school schedule has just taken up a lot of time, and the time it hasn't been taking up, I've just been so exhausted that I've just wanted to do more mindless things like watch shows and just talk to my family, things like that. So it's just been a weird month. I've also been still struggling a bit with my seasonal depression. I'm really hoping March with the beginning of spring will really boost my energy a lot more as we have more light, longer light during the day. So hopefully my energy will pick up enough that I'll be able to focus on reading a lot more. But anyway, let's just get right into this. You'll see when we go to the cards, I do have 2 books that I am reading half of this month for read-alongs I'm hosting, one being Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel, which is the second book in the Wolf Hall series. And then I'm also reading the first half of Gone with the Wind. So I've included both of those cards, even though I'm not reading the whole of either of those books. I really want to give myself a chance to ease back into reading a little bit more, making reading more of a priority in my free time. And so I don't want to overwhelm myself too much this month. So I've included those cards just in case the prompts will work for them. I've also included Cranford because that is one I really want to get to. It was my booktube spin pick, or at least one of them, and it's also part of my books I want to read before Victober, Victorian literature that I want to read before Victober this year. So I just would really like to get to it, finish it, and I do have hope I'll be able to do that this month. So I've included those 3 cards, and let's just get right into the rounds. Okay, so first of all, we have 3 books that I already know I'm reading in March, or at least partially reading in March, and I want to make sure that I have the option to put them in for the prompt so I don't overwhelm myself with how well, like I mentioned, things have gone in February. I want to give March the best opportunity to be more successful while still, you know, recognizing that I am still in a similar situation based on my schedule, and hopefully my mood will improve. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. But for these 3, we have Wolf Hall, which is standing in the place of Bring Up the Bodies, which is the sequel to Wolf Hall. I just didn't want to make another card because I felt like that was kind of a waste of paper. So we just kept Wolf Hall to represent Bring Up the Bodies. We have Cranford, which was my pick for the booktube span, and it's just a book I really want to get to. I really want to read a Gaskell before this upcoming Victober for the year, and so I just need to get to this one. I have started it. I just need to finish it. And then we have Gone with the Wind, which I will be reading half of for my read-along now that I am done with Vanity Fair. So we have those 3, and we will be picking 5 more to fill out the rest of the 8. So I think I'm going to do 3 non-classics and 2 classics just because I already have a couple of classics here, so I'll want to kind of balance out with some non-classics a little bit more. Starting with the classics, we have Wessex Tales by Thomas Hardy. Carmilla by, I think it's J. Sheridan LeFanu, I believe is his name. So that's a nice short gothic Victorian classic. Then for non-classics, we have Piranesi, A Year of Ravens, and The Yellow Wife. So some pretty good options. I'm pretty excited about all of those. Let's get into the prompt. So the first prompt is highest rated. So I'm going to need to look at these on Goodreads and see which of these is the highest rated. I think I got lowest rated last month, which was basically the same idea, just the lowest rated. So out of these, which one's the highest rated on Goodreads? And the winner is Gone with the Wind, which I kind of guessed just because it is such a popular classic, a well-known classic. It was kind of between this one, Bring Up the Bodies, and Piranesi that I was guessing would be the highest. But anyway, I will only be reading half of this because it's such a long book, and like I've said, I'm struggling to get through things anyway. Plus, that was just the plan for the read-along anyway, but that is like over 400 pages worth of reading still. So I still feel like, you know what, it's pretty much a single book's worth, a medium-sized book's worth of pages that I will be reading. So anyway, Gone with the Wind is the winner for the first prompt. Okay, so the first one worked out very well because this was the one book that I was a little more concerned about because it is so big and the pages are pretty tall and the type is pretty small, and that is Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I am hosting a read-along of this. We read Vanity Fair, and then we are going to be reading this across March and April. I've combined these two books because a lot of people believe that this is a retelling of Vanity Fair. The author herself claimed that she never read Vanity Fair though, so it's not technically meant to be a retelling of Vanity Fair, but I've heard it's very similar. So I'm excited to be reading this. Do I know anything about it? No, I know it's set during the Civil War of the United States, and I know that the main character is a piece of work, and there's a romance involved, and that's really all I know. So I'm very curious to see how this all plays out. We'll just be reading, like I said, half of it, but that is about, well, it's over 900 pages in my edition, which, see, look at this type. It's not like tiny, but for how many pages it is, it makes it feel extra small because I'm like every page, over 900 pages worth of type, that big, it just makes it even bigger. So anyway, so it's going to be a little over 500 pages that I'll be reading. So definitely a piece of work for me to take on, but I'm excited. I'm very excited. I've heard a lot of great things about this, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I have not seen the film adaptation, so I really know nothing, like I said, about this book, but it will be a great accomplishment to have read it, and hopefully I'll enjoy it as much, if not more, than I've enjoyed Vanity Fair so far. Then of course we need to replace that with a new card, and we have Sherlock Holmes. So this is where I'll just be reading the next in the Sherlock Holmes series, which I believe is just the second book, Sign of the Four, is that what it's called? Anyway, the second book. I have read the first one and now I'm on the second one. So anyway, there's that. Let me readjust a little bit since Wessex Tales has kind of fallen off the screen a little bit. Up next, we have favorite genres. So for this, we're just going to go with one that's in my favorite genres, which most of these are. My favorite genres are kind of more contemporary style classics specifically, so a little more historical fiction-esque, but because they were written at that time, they're more contemporaries for their time, and historical fiction as well as fantasy. So I think, like I said, most of these fit into that. I think all of them do on some level. Sherlock Holmes, probably not as much. Piranesi doesn't super, I mean, it's kind of fantasy-esque, but I've heard it's just kind of a weird story. So I feel like those two are not going to be what I read. I think for this one, I'm sorry to be boring, but I'm going to go with Cranford because I just really need to get to this, and I feel like it will extra force me to prioritize it. So we're going to do that for that prompt. Okay, and then thankfully we did get Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell into this list. I have started it actually. I've read the first 40 pages, I believe, and I've really enjoyed it so far, but I just needed to read Wolf Hall, so I stopped reading this. I also think I just needed a little bit of a break from classics. So anyway, I have started this, but I will be finishing it now in March. It is not very long. It's maybe just over 200 pages total, and like I said, I've already read 40 pages of it, so definitely will be a fast read. And hopefully I can get myself motivated to just pick it up because yeah, I need to get to it. And like I said, I'm really enjoying it so far. So there is that. So replacing that, I'm actually gonna put another non-classic out just because we've got a lot of classics this month and I want to mix it up. So we have The Witch's Boy. I think this last prompt I'm not going to do Wolf Hall. So I think I'm just gonna pull that out. I want a little more variety in my reading. So Wolf Hall is out and I'm going to replace it with The Golden Compass. So the first book in the Historic Materials series. I have actually the whole series in a bind up, but I will not be reading the whole series. I'm just going to be reading the first one if I end up picking that. And yeah, so last prompt, let's go choose that. We have royalty, so just something that will connect with that as the theme. There may be some royalty involved in the Golden Compass, but I am not sure on that. But one I know has royalty involved is A Year of Ravens, so I'm going to go with this one. Hopefully I will actually get to it. I'm really hoping March ends up being a better month than February as far as reading goes. Not that I'm like upset with February, it's just I know I could do better and I want my mood to improve too. So it's kind of like a symptom of my depression that I didn't do well in February, and I'm hoping that those symptoms ease in March. Anyway, I'm rambling, but yes, A Year of Ravens is what I will be reading. Okay, then we have A Year of Ravens by a multitude of authors. They are all listed there, so you can kind of see that. But anyway, this is it's kind of a short story collection in a way, sort of. I'm a little confused by exactly how it's put together. I want to say it's like a series of novellas, sort of, where we're following the story of Boudica's rebellion in the British Isles, and in this we're following multiple people, so each kind of novella section is focused on a different character within this big framework of what's going on. So I think it will be interesting just exploring this event through a variety of perspectives. And it's a self-published book actually. Some of these authors have like regularly published works out, but they self-published this together. It does have pretty decent ratings on Goodreads, so I have high hopes for it. We'll see how it goes, and I'll let you know for people who are curious about it. But yeah, I think it will be a really good addition to my classics list. I think it will just be a little bit of a lighter read that hopefully I'll end up enjoying. And then of course I will still be reading the first half of Bring Up the Bodies. I'm kind of glad this is the one that didn't end up being in my prompts, just because it is probably one of the shorter things I'll be reading. I'm only reading half of it, like I mentioned, and it really is not as long as the other two in this series, so I think it's only 240 pages that I'm reading, which is good. Like I say, I just really want to enjoy my reading in March, and I'm hoping in the next week or so to get myself back in the groove of reading. I feel like I'm already starting to kind of put myself there a little bit. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself. I want to, like I said, I really want to do better in March than I did in February, but I'm still not going to like force myself to read all the time. The hard thing is though, is I find that a lot of the times it's just starting to read that's the hard part. Once I start reading, I really get into it. Like Wolf Hall in the past few days when I've started reading, it's been hard to get myself to do that, to get myself to put my phone away and all that jazz. But once I've started, I've really wanted to keep going. Like there's been even a couple nights where I started reading a little bit later, and so I didn't have very much time to read, but I wanted to at least get a few pages in. And I found myself wishing I could stay up super late and just keep reading because I really enjoy it. It's just, again, hard to get myself to turn off other things, other distractions, and focus on reading. But hopefully, again, in March will go better. And if you don't know about this series, it basically follows the Tudor history through the eyes of Thomas Cromwell, who was an important advisor in King Henry VIII's court. Specifically, he played a pretty big role in bringing Anne Boleyn to the throne, as well as getting her off the throne, and he also played a role in bringing Jane Seymour in and bringing his fourth wife, why can't I remember her name, Anne of Cleves, also into the picture. So very interesting character within this Tudor era. I've heard great things about this series, and so far with Wolf Hall, I am enjoying it. It took me a little bit to get used to the writing style, but I am enjoying it more and more as I continue on, and hopefully Bring Up the Bodies will continue that as well. So that is it. That is what I will be reading in March, as well as My Dark Vanessa if I don't finish it in February, which is very likely. And then also I will probably be working on David Copperfield's, most likely, unless I'm not really, sometimes I get tired of so many classics all at once. So with Gone with the Wind and Cranford, I may end up wanting something more nonfiction to listen to. So we'll see how that goes, but audiobooks will definitely be listened to. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Let me know down below if you've read any of these, your thoughts on them. Also, let me know down below what you're excited to be getting to in March, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!